Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
Hey, guys. Anyway, just thought I'd say hello in the beginning.
Oh, okay. No, it threw me off because didn't you, do the intro differently?
No.
Oh, weird. I don't know what. Okay.
It's
ahead.
muscle memory at this point.
Yeah.
We did it over a year.
Yeah.
Which, I was going to say, brings us to our current subject that we did almost a year ago. It was one of the first episodes we did.
Yeah.
And now we're bringing it back with more info.
Yeah, a lot more. I know a lot more now than what I did then.
Yeah, and it's basically Terrors of the Deep 2, The Haunted Seas.
Yeah.
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 Which, that sounds like a movie.
Yeah. Or like one of those corny movies like Sharknado.
Oh my god. Yeah. But, yeah, I thought, myself, we've been doing it for so long, and we talk about bringing back some episodes we did, in the beginning, which, if you haven't heard those, go back.
Yeah.
Granted, not the best quality, because we didn't have, the best stuff, but you get to hear, some of our early takes and stuff.
Yeah. And that's, before, too, we knew, fully into our abilities, too, so, it's different. I know, a lot of people said that they've gone back and, listened from the very beginning, and they were saying that they liked the progression of, because we got a little bit better with the podcasting. We got a little bit better, talking and being, comfortable on the microphone and then comfortable in our abilities and all that stuff, so.
Yep. Not much of a haunted update, just something cool I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I recently purchased, granted, it's not the real one, but it's a replica version of King Solomon's ring, right, with a seal on it and everything. And the theory that me and Mike were talking about, I think last investigation we did, was with my ability combined with that ring, in a sense of that symbol, what it means to dark entities and such, could my ability trap them in the ring? I mean, that's what King Solomon did, in a sense that he used demons or jinns to, build his temple and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I would use them to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a thought. I wasn't able to test it out until I come across more, because I haven't worn it since we investigated last.
Yeah.
So.
We're going out a couple more times soon.
Yeah.
So.
But that's just cool, isn't it? Just had to share.
Yeah.
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 Also, if you guys, it recently came out, you'd have to become a patron of not us, but Believe in the Bizarre.
Yeah. To
hear the awesome interview I did with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and they're awesome in general, so.
Yeah. So if you want to throw a few bucks at them and stuff just to hear my interview, go ahead.
Yeah. No, but they have really cool content, so.
Yeah.
Being part of it, is worth it.
Yeah. But on to today's episode, Megan. With all your notes.
Yeah, I actually have extensive notes. I actually kind of dug deep into this, and I actually enjoyed researching. Because I don't know why the first time I did the research, I had the hardest time finding things. I found a couple of creatures and I don't know, underwater city type situations. But this time I found a chunk of stuff. It's significant. So the fact that, only 5% of the ocean is even discovered. Technically, we know more about outer space than the ocean itself. It's not really a lot of this stuff isn't really well, I guess it's scary when you think about it in terms of you being in the ocean and there's nothing around you and this stuff. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I originally had a phobia back when I was young.
We live next to the ocean, so.
I don't know if I still do or not. I had a dream that I was on a pirate ship that kind of was being attacked. I remember I jumped ship because it was exploding, and I was underwater, and I could see the other ship off in a distance. I guess that's how clear the water was. So if it had to be in the Caribbean or something. Yeah. But I don't know. I felt safe in the water when most of the times it would terrify me. Yeah. So I don't know if if that broke me of my fear or not. But I haven't tested it yet. We kind of went to the beach, but
he stayed in the sand, and I was the one that took Killian, our son, out to the water because he went when he was younger. But I don't know why we're just not we live next to the beach, but we're not one of those consistent summer beach goer families. We just it's a once or twice a year thing.
I'd always wear a Salt Life shirt. Yeah. And Salt Life stickers on my cars.
Yeah.
Salt Life, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because we live, I mean, not close, but we're like, for anybody that doesn't kind of like know the area, like where we're from, we're not from, but like where we're based out of. Basically, you know, the show Outer Banks. Yeah, I don't really care for the show, but like that area. But not like, yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, sorry. I know, just to give someone like some reference, because like anywhere you go around this area, like whether it's like Wilmington, which is like an hour away, it's a bigger college town, or you know, farther farther north, you know, like sea and ocean and that kind of life, coastal life is like weaved throughout. But one thing that I found out, because there are some creepy facts that I found out about the ocean, like getting into like researching. And there's this creepy thing in March of 2018. So there's so much ocean around the world that of course things wash up, weird stuff, things like that. But in March in 2018, Siberian fishermen found a bag of 54 severed hands that washed up. Authorities were called, but they said it was from a forensic lab who improperly disposed of them. That's just what they said. They just were like, yeah.
Hoping what sharks would eat them?
I don't know. But that's kind of interesting, the fact that
like, or some llamas?
Nothing ate the hands.
You don't get that joke, do you?
No.
Llamas.
Oh, wait, isn't that from that?
Carl.
Yeah. I remember
that. Is a deep cut, and if you know what that is, you're pretty cool.
Yeah. But I also found, too, this is another kind of, like, interesting fact about the ocean leading into all this, is there's things called the deep sea vents, and that's, like, one of the things that kind of gave me, like, the chills, like, researching the ocean, is the fact that, like, there's parts of the ocean that are just so deep and just, like, there's no light and everything. And one of the things that because I think I stumbled upon an article that basically said, like, why humans shouldn't be, like, deep in the ocean, that kind of thing. And one of the things was about deep sea vents. So basically, deep sea vents, they do high temperatured water, but basically can melt your flesh off, like, clean off the bone. And it's high in sulfuric acid, but can reach up to 18 feet tall, like how they shoot. Like, the best way to describe it is it looks like jets, and it's on the bottom of the sea.
No, I've seen them in documentaries and stuff. One of the things I've been seeing, talk about in the depths, is since we are, I guess, exploring more to the bottom of the seas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're starting catching more things than we usually would. Our cameras are better, right? So a lot of things are getting better to record or take pictures of while we're down there. And I guess, I don't know if the government doesn't care. Because since they, talked about, aliens being real and stuff like that, I guess they don't care about, sharing pictures of what they're finding on the bottom of the ocean. Mm-hmm. And a recent one I saw was this giant creature that I guess the Navy or whatever shared. It was following a submarine.
Oh.
And if you ever been near a submarine and you see how big they are, right? The submarines you usually see that, the Navy people use and stuff like that, they're humongous. Yeah. They can house, it's almost like the size of a city. This creature swimming next to this submarine was bigger than it. It had like stone skin almost.
Ew.
It almost looked like stone in a sense, and it had limbs, a head, and like I guess legs and a tail and stuff like that. It was swimming next to it.
Ugh.
Now that was scary enough to see. You couldn't really picture it out its face or anything like that. But anything that lives on the bottom of the ocean really doesn't need eyes.
Yeah. To
see, because what is on the sea? There's a darkness. There's no light. So eyes, if something evolved at the bottom of the ocean, it would have no eyes. Yeah. And there have been fish that they found at the bottom of the ocean that have no eyes. Some use light to distract and attract their prey, like the angelfish.
Yeah.
Right? Or is it angelfish? Or
I don't think it is. Is it? I know what you're talking about, that thing that it lights up,
cuttlefish. Right? Whatever that big fish is, with a giant mouth and spiky teeth, and basically uses a little light on top of its head.
Yeah, there's a kid cartoon that used it.
Finding Nemo,
yeah.
But yeah, you used the light to basically hypnotize their prey while they, eat them.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah. But, no, we seem to be finding more and more things at the bottom of the ocean. And then there was that recent one of the Japanese submariners, or I forgot what they were doing. Not whalers, but they were at the bottom of the ocean. and off the coast of Japan, and this literal looking dragon.
Dang.
Like, it looked like a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It not like Japanese style dragons, right? How they depict them in art, like an American dragon, like from Game of Thrones, like that dinosaur type of head, like scaly lizard kind of thing. And it peeked in from the darkness, got close to it, and then like scaled back.
Dang.
Right? I was like, holy crap! Right? Real or fake? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it looked pretty real, and the fact that we have things like that in the bottom of the ocean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not discovered, so a lot of it's undiscovered.
Yeah, people always talk about how we like you said in the beginning, we only like really explore 5% of our oceans.
Yeah.
There is, and you think about Earth. When you see Earth from space, right, you see mostly water.
Yeah, it's true.
So our planet, as big as it is, right, well, big to us anyway. We're tiny compared to other planets. But as big as it is to us, the majority of our space on this planet is water.
Yeah.
Not land. So a lot of it, creature-wise, animal-wise, is underwater or in the water.
And you gotta think, because we don't discover, like, because we don't go digging into the depths and all that stuff, they're allowed to, like, be. They're allowed to, you know, like, they don't have to worry about people poking and prying them like you would. Like, obviously we just, like, go through woods and tear trees down and all of that stuff. We don't really do that in the ocean. So whatever habitat that those creatures live in is pretty much stays that way.
And then, you know, you get the theories and stuff like that. Well, funny enough, in comic books, I think it's Marvel. They both have the same story, but Marvel's the only one that actually talks about Lemuria. Yeah. And I know Lemuria is one of those cities people talk about the center of the earth and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Lemuria in Atlantis in Marvel Comics was ones that got sunken by the sea. That basically was taken by the sea. And that's where the Mariner lives. Yeah. Right, that's superhero. You have no idea what I'm talking about. He's going to be in movies soon, so you're going to probably find out. But, just me being a big nerd. That's one of the cities that were. And people talk about Lemuria in a sense of it being the center of the earth city. Yeah. No, people always talk about Atlantis being the lost city. Like, oh, it's underwater somewhere. You know, you got, Atlanteans who live on the water, can breathe, right? Aquaman and such. Mm-hmm. But, Lemuria is another one that people don't usually talk about, which I always find interesting.
Yeah. That one for sure with me, like, I was reading, I think I saw a TikTok video talking about Lemuria, and funny enough, I didn't research that when, like, I was researching, but I felt pulled to, like, research more about Lemuria.
But,
Lemuria. Sorry.
One thing I wanted to talk about, I think, we didn't talk about the last episode, or last Terrors of the Deep one, because I think we talked mostly about Mariner's Trench and Mermaids. Is as much as there's scary stuff underwater, there is ghosts on top of it, i.e., ghost ships.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Some of the most famous ones people have seen are most battleships from the era of pirates and stuff like that, the 1800s. Occasionally you'll see one made of steel. Yeah. And then there's the famous Philadelphia project, where the ship teleported.
Dang, yeah.
And it came back to a different spot that wasn't even on the map. Yeah. But that's a story for another day. Yeah. But one of the most famous ghost ships of all time, I don't know if you can guess it or not.
Flying Dutchman?
There you go.
You know why I remember that one specifically? Do you remember the SpongeBob episode with the Flying Dutchman?
Wee.
Yeah.
Sounds like Killian.
Yeah. Our son does that.
No. The Flying Dutchman, of course, is captained by Davy Jones. Yeah. And who is basically like the Grim Reaper of the seas. Yeah. Most people who die find themselves at the mercy of the Flying Dutchman, or they see the Flying Dutchman as like an omen of death. Yeah. The original, funny enough, Pirates of the Caribbean, people talk about how it's a movie and stuff. They had a lot of factual stuff in there. Yeah. Like the first, I guess, business was the East India Trading Company. Yeah. They did most of the business across the seas, where pirates really wanted to, take that stuff from. The goods, the money, the gold, all that was being transferred by that company. Yeah. They were actually ones that actually had, fun fact, they were actually the ones that ever had the first ever stocks. Mm-hmm. Bonds and stocks was them. So,
that's a fun fact. That used to be one of my favorite movies.
About Pirates of the Caribbean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, the Flying Dutchman was originally seen by sailors who sailed on the East India Trading Company, and they spotted them and saw them, and they spread stories of like a ghost ship that was on the seas that for sailors who get lost at sea and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where if you remember, was it the second Pirates of the Caribbean we talked about Flying Dutchman?
Yeah, I think I saw the first 3, and then it kind of like started drifting off. Like I don't remember past like the third one. But it's crazy though you say that, because when I was researching one of the I think it was like, I forgot like where I read it, but it was like the 25 top like creepiest facts about the ocean. And one of the things was that there are they estimate that there is over 3 million shipwrecks across the world. So, yeah. So I guess like ghost ships are technically when something like when the crew gets killed or something and the boat continues on, it doesn't sink.
You know, it's funny. I know the story. I just didn't remember what the ship was or where it was seen or what year it was.
Yeah.
But actually, no, I think it was around World War One or something. Sailors, they saw a wooden ship coming in inland, right? Mm-hmm. And it's off the coast, and I think it was America. I think it's where they saw it, or England. I can't remember. All I remember is that a crew of Navy, I want to say Marines, but it doesn't make any sense. Soldiers in the Navy, they have a proper term. I know they do.
Do they?
I don't know.
No. I don't
Sailors.
know. Sailors. Yeah,
there you go. Why the hell that escaped my head? Navy sailors swore they saw a wooden ship that resembled a Spanish ship that had been lost at sea, and it got close enough to see on board. There's nobody on board. Nobody, no blood, no bodies or anything. And it was drifting on its own. Like it was just moving across the water with the wind blowing in its sails slowly. And then it drifted off into the fog and disappeared. Never to be seen again.
Well, that's like the amount of stuff they've seen. Like, I forgot the Dead Sea. I think it was in the Dead Sea. Yeah, they found a 2,000-year-old boat in the Dead Sea, in the Black Sea. So, you know, ghost ships are basically still on top of the water, but when you think about it, like the shipwrecks, the stuff that they're able to find, even like, because they were saying, like, another fact that I kind of found out was that there are more artifacts in the ocean than in all of the museums combined in the world.
You think about all the battles and times pirates, you know, blew up other ships, sank ships, other ships in battles and stuff like that over time. Hell, not even in our American seas in the Caribbean and stuff like that. Even in Greek and Greece times and stuff like that around that area. People have been sailing ships in the like 300 BC even before. Yeah. And even the Viking era and stuff like that. Well, that was around AD. But like the BC era, the Greece and stuff like that. Ancient Romans, they had ships as well. And over time, and all those ships that were sunken and stuff like that, there's, you know, consistent amount of bodies and amount of ships and artifacts and random stuff you can find at the bottom of the ocean and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Granted, most of that has been, I would say, pillaged by treasure hunters and stuff like that. Yeah. But getting stuff out of the bottom of the ocean is a lot harder, and a lot of stuff loses its value because it's, you know, it's...
Well, I would think, too, like, it would be very hard to, like, if something's been stuck in the ocean for a long time, it's probably hard, like, when they try to remove it, because it stayed intact underwater, but when you start, like, plus the pressure of the ocean,
we got a famous shipwreck right across from us over here. Yeah. Which is?
I don't know, I'm blinking.
Queen Anne's Revenge.
Oh, yes.
Blackbeard's ship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing, that like this area is known for, is that Blackbeard lived here. Yeah. And sailed. There's actually a house, I think, in Beaufort. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my speaking. I'm like saying the words wrong. Anyways, I forgot the actual tale, but it's like he lived in the house, and like that's where he like killed his girlfriend because I guess she was sleeping with one of the crewmen.
She cheated on me.
Yeah, and you could hear her crying. She was, I don't know. But yeah. I don't think you could go in that house. I think someone owns it.
Yeah, it's not a historical site house, even though they've been asked by the people who own it numerous times if they can make it a historical stop. But so all you get is a plaque outside. That's it. You can't go inside, which is like they could be making so much money.
Yeah. But so the one thing that I found that I thought was interesting, it's not anything I don't really think it's like paranormal-ish, but so even though we're focused on the ocean and sea, I did find something about like sinkholes, which is kind of like a natural like water pit area, right? But I thought this was interesting because it was actually in a Lump article that talked about like weird stuff that they found or whatever. But basically they found elongated skulls in a sinkhole in Mexico. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this, but basically the area that they found it was people are going to come for me because I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Cenote, right?
That sounds right.
It sounds right. But basically a cenote is a natural pit or sinkhole resulting from the collapse of limestone bedrock that exposes groundwater. So just so you know what that is. But cenotes are basically, they're all around the world, but they're specifically in Mexico. Mm. Anyways, but it was basically located in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. And basically locals talked about the location and that you didn't like the feeling of it. They warned people, don't go over there, like it's not good. But in 2012, a team of divers said, what the heck? And went to explore it anyways. They discovered 2 chambers littered with human bones, including deformed heads. National Geographic basically made a comment about it and said the skulls were probably got there due to human sacrifice. The shape of the skulls and the deformity was a method of intentional deformation practiced by ancient Maya cultures. So, yeah. I thought that was interesting because that's the thing is like, even in the ocean, there's a lot of not only creature carcasses, but like human carcasses.
Yeah, there's a lot of skeletons down there.
Yeah, skeletons. Yeah. I don't know why I said carcasses. That's weird. That's scary. Why would I say that?
There's human carcasses down there. All right.
Okay, I just scared myself. I gotta shut up.
No, it reminded me of something I recently found out is James Cameron, which, famous director and all that. When he was doing that documentary thing, I guess on Titanic or whatever, where he went underneath water and stuff before he filmed the film, while they were down there, they actually experienced something extremely creepy. Somewhere down near the Titanic, they found it looked like a giant, almost like a spaceship, essentially.
Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it made it it was shiny and it had material, but as they got closer to it, the air pressure changed to almost like a.
Oh my gosh!
Right, and they didn't understand what the hell was going on. It was like a slow pace, and they got closer to this object. They thought maybe it was another piece of the ship or something like that. Like, we need to find this. No one found this. And as they got closer, this object basically kind of backed up into the darkness, and then they tried to go faster to find it, and it disappeared. And one of the guys said, that air pressure change kind of sounded like breathing. Yeah.
Ew. Ew.
Just shows the go that we don't know what the hell's down there.
That's another thing, too, water, too, like the ocean. The fact that a lot of planes go missing over the ocean, too.
Yeah, well, that old conspiracy that what's her face? Amelia Earhart was lost at sea.
Yeah.
When I think with more evidence, the stronger theory is that she landed on this island and her being half dead, all those crabs ate her.
Ew.
Yeah.
But no, I totally forgot about this, but remember the Malaysia Flight 370? Where 239 passengers and crew basically went missing. It was going from Malaysia to Beijing. And kind of reminded me of that movie Manifest, remember? They or not movie, show on Netflix, where they disappear on the plane and come back and it's 5 years later.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show regardless. But that makes me wonder, could there be portals in the water that people go through?
Remember I told you about that old, I forgot what that saying's from, the Bible or some other urban legend or legend of history, but they're saying there's 3 portals to hell one in the ocean, one in the desert, and one in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
One in the desert being somewhere in Africa, one in the water in the ocean saying explaining the Bermuda's Triangle, and one in Jerusalem no one really knows.
Yeah.
But the ocean, essentially the Bermuda's Triangle area, which is actually very close to us. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's not that far. I was like, what? I thought it was like in the middle of the ocean near us, not like this close. Like you can get on a boat and go there.
Dang.
But yeah, basically Bermuda, right? The island Bermuda near Bermuda's Triangle is where, where it gets its name from. But people say always like there's either a lot of portals there or there's one giant massive one. Because like the electromagnetic energy in that area is intense. Hence why most, instruments, pilots, and even the ship's instruments go like haywire. Like if you sail through it, like your compass will be spinning all different directions.
Jeez.
So they don't know exactly why. They chalk it up to there's a lot of iron and other like heavy metals that are in like concentrated in that one area, giving off that level of magnetism that causes those things to go haywire, like probably planes crash and stuff like that because they don't have any instruments to fly on.
Well, I thought it was like some of the pictures that I was like looking at for research and stuff like that. It always boggles my mind. Like, I don't know if you've seen it where it's like it's ocean and then there's like a huge just hole in the ocean.
Just because it's real deep in that one spot.
I don't know.
Was that famous blue hole? Where is that?
I
was like South America somewhere.
Yeah, it's like somewhere around there, but like it's just a hole, and I'm like, what happens if you freaking go in that? Like,
divers have tried to reach the bottom, but they can't get very far.
That is one profession I would not like to have at all.
Diving?
Like, exploring. That's one of the questions too. Like I asked everyone on Instagram stories today was, would you ever go deep sea diving? Like deep sea diving. Like not like at the beach or like in a little scuba thing, but like straight up deep sea diving.
No.
And then I basically answered for you because I knew what your answer would be, but it's a firm no for me. Like, I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's maybe the unknown because you don't know what's out there. And obviously, what's in the ocean over here is different from what's ocean, the Pacific Ocean or whatever. So you don't freaking know what the heck you're getting into. Like, it's so unpredictable. Like when you say, oh yeah, I'm going to go deep sea dive. You don't know what you're going to get into. Like if you go in the woods, you can run into bears, mountain lions, weird humanoid creatures. You're into that. Like stuff like that. But like when you go in the ocean, you really don't know. I mean, there's fish.
And sharks.
And whales and stuff like that. But, and did you know, I think it's called Neptune's Memorial Reef. You can actually get buried under the sea in this memorial cemetery. There's a lot of underground cemeteries too down there, like intentional underwater cemeteries. So I thought it was weird.
How is anyone ever going to visit you?
Yeah. Charlie, let's go dive and let's go see. I
left flowers for him, but they floated to the top.
Oh my god, that's horrible. We gotta anchor the flowers down. No, but there's a couple other things I was like, what the frock? Right? Because it blew my mind to see it, like in the Black Sea, which that's probably a sea that I wouldn't conveniently say, let's go chill out in the Black Sea, because there's some crazy stuff. I think that 2,000-year-old ship is in the Black Sea too. But there's an undersea river, which that makes my mind go like, yeah. Because
I've seen it.
It's so weird looking because it's like a river, but it's underwater. How that happens, I don't know. It's weird.
Something about pressure and airflow. I don't know. I was trying to explain it in my head. I couldn't get it.
But one thing I did come upon. So last episode we talked about the Bermuda Triangle, but there is something.
We did it.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
Yeah, we went in depth with the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, the last time we did this.
Yes.
You said last episode. I'm like, no.
No. Oops, if I said last episode. Pardon me. I meant to say last. But in Japan, there is a sister area to the Bermuda Triangle. So it's basically called, it's Well, it's called the Devil's Sea, the Dragon's Triangle, which is kind of scary. But it's located near the Japanese coast in the Pacific Ocean. The Devil's Sea is one of the 12 vile vortexes located around the Earth. Vile vortexes are those areas where the pull of the planet's electromagnetic waves is stronger than anywhere else. The Dragon's Triangle extends as a triangle between Japan and the islands of Bonin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Including a major portion of the Philippine Sea. Philippine Sea, maybe. I don't know. I suck at words. Sorry. Geographically, the triangle is located around the Miyagi, which is a Japanese island that lies around 100 kilometers south of Tokyo. They don't know the exact location of the Devil's Sea. It's been disputed between, like a bunch of groups and people making claims about it. But yeah. So,
there's another triangle apparently in the United States.
Really?
In Michigan. Michigan Lakes. The Great Lakes. It's near Ohio, because I remember Believe Bazaar talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Believe Bazaar.
So I was like, what? Apparently, the crazy crap happened in that area. And again, most people chalk it up to like heavy electromagnetic energy. Because this is kind of off topic, but it relates to it, is that paranormal investigators usually check for high levels of electromagnetic energy in places because too much can cause people to hallucinate. Yeah. And hence why it makes people think it's haunted. Yeah. When it could really just be a scientific explanation. Yes. But that's an ongoing theory. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I had to take a sip of my pumpkin spiced ice espresso drink. But yeah, so going back to that Devil's Triangle, there's been, same kind of situation as a Bermuda Triangle. There's lores and legends saying that there's a dragon underneath. That's why, all of that stuff happens. So I thought it would be interesting to look into encounter stories, because how they say police officers or whatever have or park rangers have intense stories, on the job of, the woods or weird stuff they come by at night, that kind of stuff. So I was like, who are normally out at sea for a chunk of time? It's like fishermen, divers, those kind of things. So I stumbled upon an article by the Thought Catalog, and if you haven't checked out them for paranormal postings and articles, check them out, because that's my go-to. But they have a tendency of compiling tons of different encounter stories into one, and the one that I came across was Nightmares at the Sea encounter stories. So, okay, first one. We both turned to see a figure dressed in black, flowing robes, walking towards us on the outside of the ship. So this is a story about that.
You jumping right into it with no context, huh?
It was a foggy night off the shore of Long Island, and I was on a 75-foot schooner. The fog was so thick that you couldn't see more than 10 feet in front of you. The captain tells me there's no point to continue my watch at the bow of the ship, and him and I start talking at the stern. About that time, there is a thunk on the side of the ship. We both turn to see a figure dressed in black flowing robes walking towards us on the outside of the ship. The robes were scratching down the side of the ship. It keeps coming closer and is high enough in the air that the top was about even with our heads. It turns out that it was just a black flag to mark a lobster plot, but for those first few seconds, it was terrifying. So that's kind of a funny one. But I don't know. I could imagine being out and see that, you encounter creepiness, stuff like that. Have you seen that video that just turned up on TikTok about the guy? He was, I guess he's a fisherman, or he works on a fishing boat, and it's at night, and there's not a lot of crew on the ship. It's him and two other guys, something like that, and they're out at sea, and he's hearing the humming and the singing, and And like some people are saying it's a whale, but then it doesn't sound like a whale. It's got like almost sounds like human kind of, but it's creepy. And like I know the comments are like, "Don't pay attention to it. Don't pay attention to it." You know, because they think it could be a siren or a mermaid. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
Well, sirens and mermaids they depending on what area of lore you're listening to or hearing a story from, they're almost alike and sometimes they're different. Because some mermaids would use a siren song to attract sailors to it so they can take them to their death. Yeah. Or deep to the depths to their deaths. Yeah. Anyway, or sirens are their own creature too, and basically they well, especially sirens of the land, as we talked about before, or banshees, they have association to each other. Really? Yeah. I thought banshees were just like omens of death. Well, you hear the screaming and stuff like that. Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, I said depending on the area, you know, what culture you're hearing the story from is where you might get a different story. Yeah. Yeah, because I was getting confused because lately I've been hearing a lot of like people referring, because like I always thought like sirens were mermaids. I thought they were the same thing. Like, because essentially like when you look up the definition of a siren, it's basically like someone that lures people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it could be through song, it could be sometimes it's like an attractive woman that does it. Sometimes it's, you know, whatever. And I guess because they always kind of associated that with mermaids. So I thought sirens and mermaids were the same thing. But recently I've been seeing articles about like sirens on land. And I was like, what? You know? And because there was one thing about, they were talking about witchcraft and sirens. And I was like, what is that? But I guess it's basically luring. You lure someone to their death. Yeah. Yeah. Like, basically, you get someone to trust you and to be like, "Ooh, who's that? What is that?" You know, and then slowly, like the best thing was in Pirates of the Caribbean where she was singing, and that is a song to this day. I don't know why it gets stuck in my head a lot. Is that Jolly Sailor Bold song? I don't know why I catch myself listening to it sometimes. I don't know why, it's weird. But you know, like how like all the mermaids were like attractive and the sailors were in their, you know, boat and they were, you know, like singing, and then all of a sudden it's like they kill like creatures and take them on the water and start killing and eating them.
Yeah, so that's the best way. Like now I can like understand what a siren does. It's basically someone that, and when you think about it, like anything can kind of do that. Like
the original siren song lore came from sailors hearing it, hearing the beautiful singing of a woman sailing their ship towards it and then hitting like rocks and stuff like that and basically sinking the ship. Yeah. That was like the siren song would basically take you to your death. Yeah. So people, after the stories got out about it, then, you know, sailors when they heard that, they try to get away from it. Yeah. So.
You want to hear another creepy thing? As a creepy fact that I found was that, this diver like found like, or I don't know if the body washed up on shore. No, it couldn't have. So it wasn't on shore. So it was like underwater, and these divers found a body, and it looked like it hadn't been dead like super long, but it was by like a shipwreck. And I didn't know that eels can crawl in your body and eat your organs when you die. And because they said they'd never seen it. And the fact too, like a lot of people said that eels, you think they're like these tiny little things. But underwater, they're freaking huge. They're like anaconda size, like snakes underwater. Yeah. Ugh. Sea serpents. Oh, I don't like eels. Like when they have it at the pet store and you go by the fish tanks. I forgot. They're like small, but they're like eely. Oh.
Well, I remember I saw a picture of a meme was like eels, when you see them in tanks and stuff like that, pictures of them, they always look like they just told you a corny joke and they're waiting for you to laugh. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Huh?
Yeah. Okay, so I have another encounter story. So I have another encounter story from the Thought Catalog. Like I said, it was on that article. So unfortunately, sometimes people go out to sea to commit suicide, or yeah, believe it or not, there's those people that do that. Anyways, so this kind of like talks about the this guy who unfortunately came upon somebody that did that. I guess the idea that your body just keeps floating, not your body, but the boat. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so this is this guy's story. I came across a man who'd hung himself on his boat 5 or 6 miles offshore about 4 or 5 years ago. The eerie and truly creepy part was realizing what it was. We just saw a boat out of nowhere in the middle of the ocean without anything other than blue horizon in sight. At the break of dawn, and there was fairly thick fog as it had rained the night before. Realizing that the figure hanging from the boom was in fact one of the most haunting things I'll ever see. The boom of the ship, where's that?
Yeah, it's like, the main staff and the...
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's like, you must say branch. Like goes across, there's a boom.
Shoot, so... Dang. That would freak me out, too.
Mast and boom. That's right.
Okay.
The mast is like the main pole that goes all the way up, and the boom goes across.
Gotcha. So he was just hanging it. Could you imagine seeing that?
Yeah.
Ugh, that. And just floating, like... Just the ship is just floating with that.
But you think it'd be being top heavy like that, it would like flip over, but
yeah. So another thing that like someone that goes out on sea quite frequently says is that the thick fog, like like when you're in the middle of the woods and there's no one around you and you're just kind of stuck there and you're by yourself and like you start hearing weird stuff, seeing weird stuff, that kind of thing. They said the ocean is no different, and they said for whatever reason the fog gets them. Like every single time they go out on ship, they've been going out on ship for years and years and years, but every time that fog rolls in when they're out there, it's the creepiest feeling ever. Yeah, I guess you could see. I don't know. No, what would freak me out, and I would not choose to do this, but like if I was on a boat, right?
I'm on a boat.
Yeah, if I was on a boat at night in the middle of the ocean, because you don't know what the heck's coming up by you, and it's like you can't see anything really except for what's in front of you. Being on a boat like in the middle of the ocean freaks me out to begin with. Like cruises, no, I couldn't do.
Well, there was that image. People always say it's fake or whatever like that, and it could be. It feels like it is. But that image of it's like a clouds, it's raining, it's stormy, right? And coming off the ocean, someone's like on the beach, and the lightning flashes behind the clouds, and you see a shadow of Cthulhu.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, that's like another thing too. Unfortunately, with the sea, like there was a story on here where they were fishing or whatever, and an actual body that had been dumped was in with the fish. So, have you seen that video where, I don't know how believable it is, but they, taking this big thing of fish, the fishermen, and there's like what they think is a mermaid and it's trying to get out?
Yeah, that was that famous documentary that Discovery Channel did, of all people, on mermaids.
Dang. Yeah, I haven't actually watched any of the documentaries. I know there's a lot.
I mean, it came out as not real, but things they used in it are. The Blue Notes, that's real. Yeah. The Navy having I want to say psychonic, but that sounds stupid. Basically, sound weapons that creates, psychic, not psychic. What the hell? Where I'm trying to look for?
Well, it's kind of crazy.
Concussive. There we go. Yeah. Concussive waves of sound that would disrupt other submarines' instruments.
Yeah.
And the Navy was creating those, and they actually tested them, like underwater, like sound bombs, and that's what caused a lot of sharks and sea animals to basically wash up on shore.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I
remember that.
That happened like early 2000s.
Yeah, because there was a bunch of whales and they said they don't, like how I forgot what you call it, like beaching themselves or whatever.
Now, the Navy never admitted to that, but it was WikiLeaks that's what they were doing years later. Hence why they use it. And the Blue Note is a sound that they found underwater. It doesn't sound like the whales.
Yeah.
It's higher toned, and it sounds like it's coming from a smaller animal.
Dang.
Hence why they think it almost has the vocal range of a human.
Yeah.
Of how it sounds, but it's very loud.
Dang.
Yeah.
Creepy.
That's what they chalked up to. Hey, it could be mermaids or a sirens, or this is the legend. What
do you remember?
Or it could be just an animal we haven't discovered yet.
Did you ever see that one where it was like these two guys? I don't know if it was ever proved fake or anything, but it was like the two guys. They were walking. It was like one of those like cliff beach things, like, you know, where there's like cliffs. It's not like just flat beach. It's like rocky.
Yeah.
And they saw that thing sitting on the rock, and then it like when that thing noticed that like they were looking, it dove into the ocean.
Mm.
Creepy.
But it could be mermaids.
I mean,
you would never know.
I mean, technically, I think it was the whole thing with Lemuria, like when it went underwater or whatever, and they were saying that some of the people retreated into the water and became mermaids.
Well, if you ever watched
that was the like lore behind it.
Yeah. If you ever watched that fake documentary, but they used an idea if mermaids were real, right? I think they should have done it. Like, if mermaids were real, this is how they would be created.
Yeah.
Like early mankind, right? Our Homo sapien, even before the Homo sapien self, right? When we evolved, some of us went into the ocean and lost our hair over time, and we liked it. We gained webbed feet and hands. We learned how to swim, and we got liked so much we stayed there and evolved in the ocean as much as us evolved on land. But we all technically have water capabilities, right? Humans can swim. And most creatures that are above land and water, we can do both easily, right? We learn to hold our breath. We learn to see. We can see underwater clearly, well, for most part. And we learn how to swim. We actually have minor webbing in our own hands. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot, but it's enough that we can get a good, push ourselves to the water.
Yeah.
And there's I want to say it's in Australia or somewhere, or New Zealand, an event where dolphins and humans come together to catch fish.
Wow.
Now, granted, dolphins are smart and stuff like that, and they understand. But this event and how the humans and dolphins work together was never taught to the dolphins. These are wild dolphins, and they know what happens if they push the fish into that direction and they get caught.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the dolphins recognize humans.
Oh, yeah. Dang.
As friendly as if they've seen them before.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, like, there's a lot of instances where dolphins have helped humans.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones, I think, too, like, major sea creatures that have major interaction with humans. Because, like, like how you can swim with dolphins or whatever. That's, like, on my bucket list. I kind of want to do that at some point in my life.
What?
Like, I forgot where. I think it's, like, in Florida or some, like, place like that. But, like, you can swim with dolphins. Like, they have an exhibit and you go and you, like, swim with dolphins. It's, like, a huge, like, water tank. Like, not in a tank. That's another thing. That's a phobia of mine. Like, funny enough, one fact, when I was a kid, I used to want to be a marine biologist. One of the many career paths that I wanted to go down. And I have, like, a phobia. Like, if someone took me and dumped me into a tank, like an aquarium tank, like with the sharks and stuff, that I would die of, like, instantly of, like, shock. Like, I wouldn't be able to, because I know one time, like, we went on a field trip, and one of the things was, like, because obviously there's, like, quite a bit of aquariums around this area, and one of the things was, like, you get to go behind the scenes and see, I think even, in, like, that cartoon, like, Blippi, that kid's cartoon, Blippi.
It's not a cartoon.
Well, not cartoon.
Show.
I don't know why I said cartoon. Show. For anybody that's parents and their kids watch Blippi. Ugh. Anyways, there's an episode where he goes, like, behind the scenes, like, to feed the fish and the, like, animals. And in my head was, like, I would be petrified. Like, I'd be holding on to something. Like, because literally he goes out and it's just, like, he's standing on this, like, square above this tank. I'm like, oh my god, that would be a freaking way to torture me. Just throw me in, like, a tank like that.
I can see, if we both doing it, I shake the thing.
Oh,
like,
stop. No, I would be no, I wouldn't even. But you know what, though? When I was a kid, bridges used to scare me. Like, not bridges, like, big bridges, but, like, just, like, a little bridge that you walk on or a crossway, like, over water or above water. Freaked me out. Like, because over here, because we live on the coastal area, like, they have where, like, you walk on, like, the wooden decks and you go out above the ocean. Or not ocean, but or, like, a pier or something like that. Like, that freaks me out.
Well, it looks like we're running out of gas here.
Yeah. No, but there's a lot more. I feel like a lot more stuff is coming out about the ocean than before. A lot of people are kind of like digging more deeper into that stuff.
What is in store for next week?
Okay, so next week is going to be intense, and I'm kind of excited about this episode because it's something that I've been researching on the side. And the way I'm approaching the episode too is like I'm looking at people that say the naysayers about them, and then the people that said, like their stuff is true and they, go for it. But we are digging into Ed and Lorraine Warren's case files and about them as people in general.
Yeah, and we've talked about them a lot on the episode because we kind of look up to them.
The reasons why too I got into pendulum work because I saw her doing it, and I actually tested it last investigation that we did. And you just have to be careful because obviously if there's darker, stronger things, I think they can have a pull on like leading you, astray, kind of like distracting you from where it needs to be. But yeah.
Anyway, so you're going to hear us fan out, fangirling in a sense.
Yeah, and we'll kind of cover like what did the movie show versus what's actually occurred.
Yeah.
So.
But look forward to that, guys. And as always, we'll catch you widows in the next one.
Yes.